Good evening, I'm Ryan Bass. Welcome to INN News, everyone. North Koreans have said goodbye to their leader. The funeral for Kim Jong-il happened overnight. You're looking at pictures of a massive ceremony with a heavy military presence in North Korea's capital. Kim's body is making its way to its final resting place. His successor and son, Kim Jong-un, took a front and center role in the procession, walking alongside his father's body. After ruling the reclusive state since 1994, Kim Jong-il died of a heart attack less than 2 weeks ago at age 69. It's back to court for Egypt's former ruler and a hijacking on the high seas. Here's your global news now. After a months-long break, the trial of former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak resumed today. It continued after an appeals court dismissed a motion to disqualify the presiding judge. Mubarak is charged with ordering the killing of protesters in the uprising, which eventually ended his 30-year rule. He also faces corruption charges. An Italian tanker with 18 people on board has been hijacked off the coast of Oman. The chemical product tanker was on its way to the Mediterranean Sea when it was seized. It was carrying caustic soda. Of the 18 people on board, 6 are Italian nationals, 5 are Ukrainian, and 7 are Indian. The world's largest producer of electric locomotives has launched its first super-speed test train. CSR Corp says it can reach up to 300 miles per hour. The high-speed trains on the tracks now go about half that fast. And that's your global news now. The gloves have flown off between two leading hopefuls for the Republican nomination as we continue our Your Vote 2012 coverage. The Iowa caucuses, they're less than a week away, and these latest attacks are direct and one could say pretty creative. Here's Greg Black.
Republican presidential hopefuls, can't we all just play nice? That was Newt Gingrich's message on the Iowa campaign trail Tuesday.
So our campaign is going to stay positive. I am not going to go negative, period.
This in response to ads attacking the former House Speaker from groups that are aligned with well-funded opponents like former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney.
His weakness for half-baked and not especially conservative ideas made him a poor Speaker of the House.
That the attacks are coming from supporters and not from Romney himself had Gingrich veering off that aforementioned positive message Tuesday evening.
If you want to run a negative campaign and you want to attack people, at least be man enough to own it.
Romney, meanwhile, had barbs of his own to offer, including Gingrich's comparison of his failure to make the Virginia primary to Pearl Harbor.
I think it's more like Lucille Ball at the chocolate factory. So, I mean, you got to get it organized.
Now, you might be able to understand the testiness if you could see how close the polls are for next week's Iowa caucuses. According to the American Research Group, Texas Congressman Ron Paul has a slight lead over Romney and Gingrich. Others, such as Rick Perry, Rick Santorum, and Michelle Bachmann, aren't counting themselves out and continue to barnstorm across the state. I'm Greg Black reporting.
And nationally, a newly released Gallup daily tracking poll has Gingrich up by 1 point over Romney. That's 25 to 24%. Now, Ron Paul is in third with 11%. Rick Perry holds 8%. Earlier this month, Gingrich held double-digit leads over the entire field. The Nebraska Democrats will have to find a new candidate for the United States Senate. After 20 years in office, Senator Ben Nelson announces he will not go after another 6-year term.
Therefore, I'm announcing today that I will not seek re-election. Simply put, it's time to move on.
The two-term senator and Nebraska's lone Democrat among the state's 5-member congressional delegation announced first through YouTube he would not be running for his seat in the Senate. He says it's just time to stop. His seat has been targeted by Republicans as they look to take control of the Senate. Democrats have a slim margin. 23 of the 33 seats up for grabs in the Senate are held by Democrats. Kurt Casper from our affiliate KPTM has more.
With a simple click of the mouse, Senator Ben Nelson announced to the nation he would not be seeking re-election.
And look for new ways to serve our state and nation.
Speaking to reporters outside of his home in Omaha, Nelson said he made the decision with his family over the weekend. He ultimately just wants to spend more time with them.
It's less about leaving the Senate, it's more about being attracted to doing some things that I've put off.
But with this announcement, a cloud of smoke surrounds the 2012 elections.
Just because it's one of the top 2 or 3 most competitive races in the country.
And Republican officials agree. They just wanted Nelson out of Washington.
Nebraskans really wanted him to move on, and he made that decision today, so we thank him for his service.
Nelson was the last vote that allowed the health care bill to be passed in 2009. His vote has been highly scrutinized, and many believe that vote harmed his 2012 campaign.
I mean, history will unfortunately for Senator Nelson, will always label him as being the senator who cast a decisive vote for Obamacare.
But Nelson says Washington wasn't the reason why he left.
So, no, I'm not running from the Senate. I'm running to do something else that I want, and I still have a year.
So as Ben Nelson's seat in the Senate opens up, so do the questions. As some political experts would say, the circus has just begun.
I think the Democrats in general should be a little bit worried. I mean, it's going to be tough to find a candidate on short notice.
Jane Clubb of Bold, Nebraska told me that Democrats need to seek a candidate with a name, someone who knows the campaign trail and can raise money in a short period of time. But Republican officials tell me that that won't matter. The seat is theirs. Kurt Casper reporting for INN News.
Nebraskans will choose their Republican candidate in the primary, which is May 15th. A time now for Back to Business with some new perks for flyers and what to do with your unwanted gift cards. Several businesses use rewards programs these days to attract customers. Now airports are adopting that strategy. More than 30 across the country have joined the Thanks Again program. It awards flyers airline miles for parking, shopping, or dining at the airports. All you got to do is register a credit card and rack up points for every dollar you spend. Participating airlines include Delta, American, United Continental, U.S. Airways, and Alaska. Online shopping jumped more than 16% this Christmas Day over last year, and the dollar amount of purchases that were made using mobile devices jumped nearly 173%. The iPad accounted for 7% of all online sales on the holiday, the iPhone 6%, and in third place, Android devices with 5%. If you received gift cards over the holidays you won't be using, all is not lost. Several websites offer you the option to buy, sell, and trade gift cards. Cardpool.com, as well as other websites, will buy those unwanted gift cards. You will then receive payment either by check or an Amazon.com gift card. And that's your Back to Business. 2 women accused of faking injuries in the Indiana State Fair stage collapse have been charged. Authorities say they falsified hospital records to get money intended for victims. Stephanie Murray and Sandra Hearn have been charged with forgery, perjury, and attempted theft, all felonies. 7 people were killed and 61 people were hurt in the August 13th incident. Metal scaffolding fell on fans as a storm swept through. Next, the wedding that captivated the world. We look back on the royal wedding that made little girls want to grow up to be princesses and made fancy hats the cool thing to wear. And are you ready to be done with 2011? How you could say good riddance next on INN. And we want to remind you, INN News is on Facebook, and now you can also find us on Twitter at INN News Network. We're also on YouTube, reaching out to you so you can reach out to us. INN News will be right back.